Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the TFC Open Mic. I'm your host, Liam99, and it's been a crazy week again. Yeah, is there a raid going on right now, guys, or something about a raid I've seen somewhere? I'm not sure.
There was, but then people couldn't get into it and complained, and
Well, I heard about that, but I was kind of asleep for the first 24 hours of the raid. Like I did the stream for the preview server, passed out after that, and was asleep for like 36 hours. So I missed that. I missed that fun, but it's a shame I did because I heard it was a lot of fun.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it fun, mate, but yeah.
Well, what actually happened? Fill me in, because I wasn't sure. So.
Oh, the lag was insane. All your fleets were docking. You couldn't get into your fights. You lost crews. You lost fleets. It was just crazy, mate. Absolute nuts. And then we got the old favourite SOS, mate.
SOS.
And then
I've just seen them.
And then they took it down and said they'd fixed it and put it up again, and it was still the same.
Was there pokies? Because if there was pokies, then I really missed some fun.
Yeah.
Was there pokies when they took it down?
No, mate, I don't know. I just switched it all off then. I just got annoyed, mate.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it was a stressful start, but I think a large part of that might be. I know that we've had a lot of issues in the game since we had the update to take everything server side, and if you think about it, this is actually the first raid hosted server side as well. So I'm sure they were expecting problems, and it sounds like there was a lot of them. So. But I know that doesn't make anyone feel any better. But we did get a 24-hour extension from the sounds of it, and I know a lot of people that had issues were from what I've heard, were rewarded for it, so to speak. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but some aspects I did want to talk about. Hi, Ren. How's it going?
Hey, good, you?
Yeah, good. There was a couple of things. But I actually do feel a bit better. But there's, whiskey does a lot for you. There was so obviously Tuesday we had Raiken on the show, and it was a great show, and I very appreciative of Raiken for coming on, and hopefully it won't be a rare occasion. I think Raiken is trying to secure himself to come on the show a little bit more regularly, which will be great for the show and for the community more so, because he'll be able to give you facts, not speculation. We'll actually have someone being able to come on the show and give us facts about upcoming content, which will really keep you guys a lot more well informed. And that's the plan with the show and moving forward with that. But there was a bit of confusion, at least from what I've seen from a lot of the comments in some of the pages and a lot of the replies on some of the stuff. A lot of people did seem a little bit confused about some of the stuff he said, and I just wanted to highlight some of that. Like the line in the sand that they're drawing with the PvP PvE. Now, if they, we had the adjustment to our base turrets a few weeks back, which I know everyone was really, really excited about and happy about. Right now, if
excited,
you're all gone very quiet right now when I'm saying this, but anyway, there is a few jokes in there if you can hear them. But he did talk about the deflection bypass being added. A deflection bypass is going to be added to all PvE targets across the game. So a lot of people, do you know what's strange? There's a lot of people PM me from the show or who watch the show, PM me and said, "Hey, what's a good setup with this new hull to hit the weeklies with?" And I'm thinking to myself, have you watched the show? Like, this fleet isn't made to hit the weeklies. This fleet, when they bring in the update of deflection bypass, this hull is going to be like a piece of glass in the weeklies. It's going to melt in a second. And the same in the raids. Okay, great. Everyone's having. I appreciate you're having fun with them in the raids right now, and they will at the moment be the best hull in the game. But when this update comes, it brings in a deflection bypass. That's what the whole point of everything is zero resistances, high deflection, base hitting, hit player bases. High resistances, no deflection, PvE. And PvE, what falls under PvE? player versus environment, and anything in the environment. That could be
all
raid.
the dubs in the sector, yeah.
Yeah, dubs, mines, player based,
Base parts.
base parts, yeah, salvages, weeklies. So that, this hole isn't made for that. It isn't made for that. So the people wondering about, should I get this hole and would it really help me in the weeklies? Yeah, it will for a week. But if you spend a lot of money putting a build on it for the weeklies, and then next week I do drop this update, you're going to be so annoyed because you're going to have to refit it straight away. So just be careful of that is all I'm saying, kind of like a pre-warning. And the other issue that I seen lots talking about was the fact that Raiken did mention, and please all of you get involved in this next bit, is when Raiken mentioned that we're going to see the current raid targets recycled into the game, and it won't just be for this raid, it'll be for all future coming raids and stuff. They'll kind of recycle the targets and put them elsewhere in the game. So, for example, like in my case, I built citadels for this raid. I'm having a very cheap, easy raid, and next month they might decide to do a new raid. Well, where's my citadels? They're just, what am I going to do with them? They're obsolete again. They're off the shelf, or they're no longer usable. So, and in that scenario, Kickstarter thought, well, that's what annoys players all the time. So what can we do to change that? Okay, let's keep these targets that they built these fleets for, let's keep them in the game. And to do that, they said, right, well, we might... Now, Raiken didn't say 100%. That's another thing I want to bring up, is because everyone seems to think that this was set in stone. He didn't say 100% guarantee, I'm going to take the raid targets out of this current raid, and that's going to be your next Forsaken mission. He said it's a possibility. He kind of said in general...
As an example, is what I got.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly what the word I was trying to use. It was an example. He was giving you an example. He was saying, we could take these raid targets and they could be your next Forsaken mission. Hell, they could be your next Armadas. They could be your next dubs for all we know. We just don't know. So, don't get too wound up about it before we see it, is all I mean. Because another thing is another thing that he said, which I think most people, when I've seen these posts in our page as well about this subject, is people are saying, well, these are really hard. They've got cold snaps and this doesn't work, and what am I gonna what am I gonna be able to do? Because during the raid it's half repair. One thing Raiken did say is that when they do reformulate them and shuffle them in elsewhere, they'll downgrade them. They'll rebalance them because they're aware that we get half repairs during the raid, and they're aware that different elements and different factors. So when they do redistribute them in the game, they're not going to expect us to hit them full whack without half repairs. So all I'm highlighting is, don't get so stressed about it. Don't get so wound up about what he said, because if you think about it, there's a lot of good in there too, and I think that people are getting too wound up about speculating about some of the things that he said more in an example as opposed to fact, Sorry, so I know I've talked for 10 minutes there, so guys, jump on that. What do you guys think about that?
I think about... Go ahead.
No, it's a good thing as long as they're dumbed down, because our fleets are good, but like you said, it's half repair time and stuff, so... And at least it'll be a way to use my old fleet still. They'll be good at doing something.
For the bypass, the deflection bypass, it's been said a lot of places. I think that the only way to do this, or a way to do this well, is to have it counteract these specific types of damage bypass, the ballistic bypass, the ballistic deflection, the penetrative deflection that you can see on the Revenge, as opposed to just in general assault and siege deflection that you would see on a Punisher. Or if they take away all of our deflection, they'd have to first off lower the damage of these targets, and second, take away the resist bypass, because if you're taking away our deflection and our bypass, that's not really fair.
Yeah, you can't do both. Yeah.
Yeah. FM cycling targets I find is a bit interesting because most of the FM targets right now are siege. There's a few mobile ships, and yeah, citadels might have an issue with those, but you could just cycle out a frontline tank for, heck, even just a spotting rhino that's reasonably durable and can punch back, or like a Drat carrier or something that can take out those few ships, and the rest of the time it's basically a siege target. I don't think that'll be too bad for the most part. I feel bad if they're trying to build if lower level players are trying to build something specifically for the FMs, and then it gets changed on the midway, and hopefully they also reduce the number of mortars and the range too, because a lot of players might not have the total number of gales required to do the higher level FM targets, and you can't get enough gales in this one raid to be able to do that safely, I don't think, even with FLCS. So just be careful.
I think, Brian, just on your last point, I think you can get enough gales. I mean, just on this raid, somebody could get 5 Gale 1s, 5 Gale 2, that's 10. That's enough for a tank. I mean, it's not enough for 2-3 tanks, but if you want to concentrate them all on a ship, like I use a Punisher right now, it has 7 or 8 Gales and the frontline countermeasure system. That's enough, right? I mean, with that tank plus 3 Citadels, one of them absolutely not ranked at all, I'm doing tier A for like 3-4 coins, right? Let's say they have the damage when that becomes FM, if that becomes FM. And, you know, that sounds like okay. I could do like I do today, hit a bunch of them until my tank's gone, have about 25 million points, go to bed, and do the other half tomorrow, I think.
As long as they make the lower levels doable, because it's all right for us hitting A sets with our tanks and our Gales and our top end ships, as long as when stuff gets recycled into the Forsaken, the lower levels can still acquire what they need to acquire with their tech.
Mm-hmm.
And the lower levels, by the way, are going to have, you guys probably saw the briefing, the lower levels are going to have the Foundry, right? And through the Foundry, they'll be able to get some holes, like tier 1, tier 2 holes on that new Foundry system. They'll be able to get some components. So when they actually need to, and they'll get them from like even salvages, it says there, right, on the briefing. Salvage level 40 will give components, right? Or piece of ships. They had a name for that, I don't remember. But
siege parts and
like, yeah, so
cool stuff like that.
Parts, yeah, some sort of parts. So you know, I think when they finally have to go and start doing FM now, they should be mid-level already, not low levels anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think too much. There's too many people that are a bit concerned right now. Without, like, because the Foundry, I think, is the key to all of this. Like, at the moment, we're all kind of guessing, but I think the Foundry is going to be the thing that makes us go, right, that's what it means, you know? I think that's, everything is probably part or to do with that, and, you know, the change to the content is going to probably be linked to that as well, and until we see the Foundry, we kind of, all we can do is guess. I mean, another post I've seen as well was a player put a post in saying, look, you know, I built my Frosty. I built my Harlock Aegis and my Rhinos. You know, I built them in January, and if I can't do weeklies with them now, I'm going to be so annoyed. And I said, well, why couldn't you do them? And he said, well, if they're going to rotate the current raid format into the weekly content, then that fleet won't be able to do that because of the cold snap. So I just wanted to let you know that I did test that. I tested that principle. I took out some Rhinos and Harlock Aegis, and I was able to do A sets in the current raid for close, if not to the same as my Citadel fleet. So 1 to 2 coins for an A set using. But
then what would that relate into the normal game? If it's 1 to 2 coins, is half fix and the grease.
Well, that's. But what I'm saying to people, what I'm trying to say is that just because they're changing the current raid for if they do decide, let me word that better, if they do decide to take away the current weekly targets and switch in these as the weekly targets, if they do decide, although it was used as an example, like, there's nothing to say that the fleets you're using now to do your weeklies are not going to work to be the fleets you use to do your weeklies, or you may need to just tweak them very slightly. If you're running Harlock Aegis with Rhinos and you're doing your weeklies with that, I'm almost 100% certain you're still going to be able to do that after a change. Even with a cold snap.
Can confirm. The fleet I'm using for the raid is the same I used for the FMs. It does both magnificently. Even if you don't have a Punisher tank, you just need to watch some videos online, learn some driving mechanics to get your spotter in far enough ahead so that the cold snap rocket doesn't take out your Aegis field on the back line, and just move the Aegis up after the cold snap finishing firing its salvo, or it's dead, either way, and you're set.
Yeah, I think the driving, it's the key point. Brian hit the nail on the head. I mean, a lot of people are just used to stacking all the holes they have, all the ships, stack them and drive, right? And when you have a spotter and ships with remote targeting, it does require a bit more driving. It's not rocket science, but you have to space them out as far as you can, and then you're cold snap immune. I mean, or even the mortars won't get you pretty much.
Okay, so that's is there anything else anyone wants to talk about? Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about with regards to the content changes in terms of that before we move on to the next subject?
I think Wayne wants to talk.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. Like, I agree with everything you guys said, but also I'd like to add to it. The thing is, they're already, in some ways, in the past, in a minor way, have done that because the hubs used to be the raid and the hubs were the weekly and all this sort of stuff. The thing I'm interested in seeing is, A, like you guys said, how much they make it easier if possible, and also maybe the biggest whinge in the weekly I see or hear is people go on about the 50 million points. Whether they make it less or make it more points for the targets would be nice to see.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to change the tiers and the points, but that's just a guess. I don't think they're going to make changes there.
Well, it's interesting too because there's more, like there's 13 different kinds of targets in this raid, and I don't believe there's 13 different kinds of levels of Forsaken outposts that you can hit for the weekly. So that'll be fun to see where they mess with those and put them in the levels.
Well, was it not something they said that I thought they said that the way that things are wouldn't change a great deal. Did they say that the system would change, the prize system?
No, there was no mention of that.
I can't see the points changing. I mean,
the only thing they said, is that some prizes that are more entry level and would be like required to do FM would be, at first you could get them from the foundry, and you could get things from the foundry by just hitting salvages. So in a way, it's going to be even easier for even like, a level 20 player who can hit a level 40 salvage or something like that, be able to get the first stack without doing FM.
So, anything else, guys, on the Forsaken mission target switches? Anything?
I think we'll just wait out and see if it's the rumor is confirmed. Raiken didn't say it was definitely going to be this system. I think we'll pause for now. I think, and if it is, it shouldn't be overly bad. And if it's something different, well, we'll adapt as ever.
Well, and also, do you know what? I can't tell you how sick I am of those 85s. Like I have a few old fleets that I just send in on autopilot. I'm so sick and tired of seeing the things. I welcome a change to them as long as it's not gonna cost me anything. And I don't.
I think there are two camps there, Liam, and we gotta be careful, right? I mean, people like you are sick and tired of hitting 85s and doing it twice a week without blinking. But I have people in my alliance who said, fuck it, like I'm just getting ready to hit 85s now, and I'm gonna hit tier 4 for the first time, and now they tell me it's gonna change.
Agreed, Ren. Yeah, I've got my guys just finished building their Punishers now. Building their Rhinos now, and they've just got their 4th one done.
Exactly, right? So we got to be careful there. But I think, if people have been building to do this raid, and I think this raid now, it's cycle number 5 of this raid, I think.
No.
Or 4.
No.
No? Isn't it?
It's the 3rd, isn't it, I think?
3rd.
Yeah, I thought it was the 3rd too.
So it was Citadel, Centurion, Revenge.
It just feels like a long time.
Okay. So, okay, 3 cycles, 3 months. I mean, if people are building anything that works for that, or like Brian said, in some cases your FM fleet can also do the raid, just like if you have a fleet of holes that can do mines, probably you can do at least tier B on the raid, I would think. So, and I remember back in August when 85s came out, I think it was August, I took, in the first week, I think I was taking 7-8 hours of damage hitting 185.
Yeah, me too.
And then I think by a couple weeks I was down to 4 hours, and then 2 months later down to 2 hours, and now I can do pretty much the whole FM in one sitting if I want.
I mean, as soon as the Drat Carrier came out, that was it. Then it was instant fix for me.
Yeah, the carrier was my key fleet.
It changed it, yeah, changed it all for me.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps I am being one-sided, and if I am, then I apologise. Maybe I'm thinking too much from my own perspective, which is something I don't normally do. But I certainly do appreciate. I mean, I know Lucy can't do the weeklies. Well, she can't go to level 85 without spending a ridiculous amount of money until she got her Rhino sorted. So I was actually standing in front of her fleet with a Punisher and doing it that way. So I should be a little bit more understanding on that regard, and I wasn't there.
I mean, a couple of things Sorry,
go on, Mark.
I was just saying, right back at the first deflection hull was obviously that wasn't the first, but the HC. So I was doing the same thing. People that had, really some of the older fleets, I had a single HC that I was running in front of their fleet, and then basically I was driving around. I was taking all the damage, and then I'd fix that one, and then bring another HC in for the next sort of person, do that, and then sort of I moved on then to the V2H, like I said, at R10. And then I posted that video before, and my lad, he can run through the 85s, and he can do 6 in one evening, and then do the remainder of that first set with just the T3 tech. There's nothing special in it. I mean, you've seen the video before, sort of stuff. And so long as people can work towards that sort of level, which probably takes them 2 months probably. So within 2 months of the change to the new FM system, within 2 months that people can adapt and then do it.
I would think so. Yeah, 2 months. I mean, considering the 3 months we had of raid, plus 2 months should be reasonable for most
I think that's a reasonable time. Yeah.
To adapt, right? One thing that I thought was a bit overlooked, maybe in our discussions before, the Foundry. So Kixeye stated that going forward, whole retrofits will all be done in the Foundry, and component retrofits will be done in the Retro Lab. So now we're going to be able to do both in parallel, right? That to me, it's great news, I think, right?
We were. We'll touch on the Foundry as well. I'll read up the post about it, and we can talk about that some more as well. If that's cool later in the show, right?
Okay. I mean, I was going to talk about the Foundry. If you want to read the post first, go ahead.
Oh no, go on then. Sorry, yeah, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, like my working theory, it's that the deflection bypass, and that's being discussed on the page. The deflection bypass will be something like 100% bypass on the damage type specific deflection that the Revenge has. So all those fields that are like 2,000 plus deflection, right, per damage type, they get neutralized to 0 in PvEs. That will leave the Revenge with a 600 assault, 400 assault, 600 siege, and horrible resistances and mediocre evade, as compared to the Punisher, or siege-wise, even the Neptune, right?
Agreed.
Now, the other thing is, now you go to the Foundry, and the holes will be stacked per category, right? Siege holes, skirmish holes, and other types. So all the PvE holes, like the Punisher and the Neptune and the Citadel, they'll be in the same category as PvE holes, and the Revenge will be in a different one. Now, part of the retrofit that we'll see, instead of being a retrofit per hole, like we have today in the Retro Lab, it's going to be a retrofit per category. So once you're able to collect the parts and go in the Foundry and say, now I want to retrofit my PvE holes and give them plus 20, plus 40 siege deflection. All those holes will get that bonus, but the Revenge won't. Right? The Revenge probably in its category, it's going to be getting bonuses on its damage type specific deflection, not the base one. So as you retrofit them, the gap will widen more and more, and your PvE holes will get better and better at PvE, and your PvP will get better and better at PvP. At the same time, getting worse and worse if you try to cross to the other type, right?
Yeah, it's like going down, the start point of a ravine. You'll go on the left side, one go on the right, and the ravine gets wider and wider and wider, and the gap in between, at some stage, you'll never be able to cross it with that particular hull. That's the way I see it.
Exactly, yeah, I think the same, right? So, a lot of people, and I'm surprised that a lot of people are still asking, I see that the Revenge is doing amazing in the raid, maybe I should get that one, and that's going to help me in my PvE. And, oh boy, these guys are, if they didn't get the message, they're going to be in for a lot of crying and whining later on.
Well, I just captured that. On the chat that's up there now, I can't remember, it's quite earlier on, actually, a good 10 minutes ago. How much of the population that plays the game actually reads the Facebook forums or actually goes on and watches these type of shows? So what population that's not doesn't actually know what's coming?
Yeah, it's a tiny percentage. I just always hope that it's enough people that you get 1 or 2 per alliance, and that those 1 or 2 that watch the shows or read the page or go on Kicks Live forums, if 1 or 2 per alliance do that and spread the word, and people should know.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised. I was just talking with Liam earlier tonight about that. Is how many people that we've seen in comms that have actually purchased this new fleet and built them, and then asked the question, what are they going to be good for?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
So why
There's a few in our alliance that have done that.
But that makes the question, doesn't it?
But in some people's defences, a lot of them have done this sneakily way, like a few, I think one person and myself are about to do here, is they haven't really paid for it because they're using tokens that they might have saved up, tokens they can buy in the raid when they grind out. And if they can do it for next to nothing, even if you get it down to 40 coins, really 40 coins, how many assets that would have been in repair if you hadn't done it?
Yeah, I'm not talking about just building one out of tokens. I'm talking about a full fleet, a level 65 plus fleet.
Yeah. Exactly.
And some people ask what they're for.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that a lot of them have done it that way, but some of them have done it the smart way. And so, out of all these ones that have actually done it, it's interesting to see some went the smart way and some just gone the rash way.
Well, kickers don't mind that, do they?
I think something they can do, jumping a point back, for letting players know about the May sweeping change of the world targets. Sometimes there was a little text message put above the game client, at least on Facebook. They did it for the extension of the raid. It's like, oh, we're extending it another day. Click here for details, and there's a link to the forums. So if they could do something like that, I think that would help greatly with spreading word.
Still, a lot of people won't click on it, right?
So I actually looked while you were talking about it on the loadout screen to load into the game, and in the details section before you can redeem the hull, it literally says that the Revenge is good for player base hitting on both accounts. So you actually have to actively avoid reading what is directly in front of your face.
You're right. And by the way, I don't know if I know some people liked it, but I hope it spreads around that little PDF I put together about the Revenge hull.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know. I tried to, because it's not an easy hull to understand at first, right? With negative resistances and everything. So I hope people spread that around, or the videos that have surfaced so far, the show from Tuesday, this discussion today. People need to know, but I bet some people will still build it and in 2 months be complaining that, oh, my Revenge hull can't do FM, it sucks.
Well, this is what we were talking about this earlier. So many people have PM'd me. I don't know if you were in on that bit, Ran, but so many people have PM'd me and said, oh, what's a good Forsaken mission build on this hull and stuff,
There isn't one.
I know.
But I saw people on the page, right, asking, should I redeem the Punisher or the Revenge? Mm-hmm. You should not be asking that question. You should ask, do I want PvE and can I do it fine, or do I want to do PvP and can I do it fine? Mm-hmm. Right? Once you answer that question, you know the hull you need. There's no question about that.
And if you're a filthy corner and you want both, then crack on and build both. But then you got both bases covered. But one isn't going to do both anymore. It's just that's the way it is.
Exactly.
Okay, guys. So another thing that come out Tuesday, and I know we touched on it a little bit already, is the deflection bypass. So how do you guys feel about the deflection bypass? Or have I already asked this question?
Yeah.
Have I already actually asked this question? Because if so,
I don't know.
I'm going absolutely crazy.
I feel like we answered it in the discussion of deflection bypass.
I had like a little list next to me of stuff I wanted to go through, but
I know you're not well, mate.
yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. So we've right. Okay. So the raid then. Let's hit into the raid stuff. Is everyone ready to move on to the raid stuff, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel about the raid and the prizes and the whatnots and?
The prizes is reasonable. A couple of items are a bit more expensive than I thought they were going to be. Some parts now, like the Tigers, for example. To be honest, the value of having a Tiger fleet now, as in starting to build one now, and like the scatterguns, very dubious. I don't think there's much worth now, personally, because they're not going to do much good in PvE. And they're certainly not going to do much good in base hitting with all the sort of hulls that are coming out now that for the defense, and those individuals are going to get shards as well. So unless you're hitting other really low-level bases, I don't think Tigers are going to have their, apart from opening up, obviously, res on the open seas, I don't think if you committed that much time to building a set of Tigers, I don't think that's value for money, personally, in timeline. So
that's a good point. Mark, just I had a lot of people asking me the same question, and my advice was like, if you're struggling to do basic PvE and catching up and whatnot, building Tigers now or any sort of sub won't help your cause.
No, we're not in that zone anymore, are we? No, they're a fun thing to have, but that's it.
Yeah, but I think on the other hand, I tell people it's always good to have a functional sub fleet, right? So. My compromise to some people is like, you know what? You don't have Tigers. Do you have Nighthawks? Oh, you do. Great.
Stick a new torp on it. Just
grab one of the torps, the Charon or the Styx, and I think for Nighthawks with one less special slot, the Charons are actually better.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I've got two of my guys just done that now. That's exactly the torp they've done. Put it on their Nighthawks, and they're fine. They're doing absolutely fine with them.
And like that campaign we had, the TLC we had for the rocket turret. Everyone was doing the mastery level with subs, and whoever didn't have subs with Scourge Torps was struggling. And, that's a perfect example of a curveball. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody knew the subs would be useful. They were just gathering dust in my dock. And, all of a sudden, yay, here's my subs are the solution to that. And if you don't have a sub fleet at all, a good one, you're screwed, right?
I mean, I'm going to comment there in chat.
I don't know about that, because I've got scattergun Tigers and I've got launcher Tiger fleets, and they still work well for prepping bases and stuff.
No, absolutely, and that's because you have them, right? And you have been using them. But I mean, if you were a guy catching up right now, would you build the same Tigers right now as opposed to a fleet of Revenge first?
Well, I'm not going to build a fleet of Revenge, mate. So.
Oh, okay.
To be honest, I mean, look at that. You look at the build for a Tiger sub with obviously the torps, and then you look at the new hull. Yes, you can put a Tiger sub in your base to stop the new hull, but you can also put the new hull in your base to stop the new hull, and then you can use that new hull yourself to go out and hit somebody else's base. But you can't do that with a set of Tigers. Because
that's my point.
It's moved on.
Well, I do, because I just go and sub out the guard and then the base.
But with all the extra things that are coming in, the ghost crawlers coming through now, the proton nem has just upped itself and got some thermal, and the game's moved on yet again. So to start, I think a set of Tigers from brand new would be expensive.
Start them from brand new? No, I wouldn't. But I do still use mine a lot. So
yeah. But the Tiger is in this raid. So do you get the Tiger sub? That's the question. I think not.
Yeah, and I mean, to Stuart's point, I think the launcher or the scattergun subs, they are niche fleets, right? They're specifically for PvP base prep or base hit in some cases.
Yeah, I love mine, I have to say.
Right?
But that's because I built them.
Yeah, but I mean, for players who are not top-notch players right now with the latest and greatest gear, I mean, just make sure you have a working sub fleet, and I mean torp subs, not scattergun subs or launcher subs, unless you already have a working fleet of regular subs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then the Tiger sub, if you've got it, you can put anything on it, and it will work.
Mm-hmm.
So, whereas Night Orc can't, it is just a torp fleet. So there's swings and roundabouts to it, but yeah, if you haven't got a fleet of subs, then yeah, I wouldn't pick them because it's an expensive fleet to build.
It is. It is.
Yeah, and if you're a zero coiner and you're just doing it on pure time alone, even if you are or aren't reaching T4, you could have built a base hitting fleet in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about coiners, non-coiners, mega coiners, and whatnot, I mean, are you guys going after the shards?
No, not me personally, no, because all I'm doing now is just prepping for my alliance so they all get Punisher.
I've been getting the shards. I've had to get I'm getting all the limited stuff, all the tokens, all the shards. I've gone for the Phantom Tiger as well because I didn't have that, and then the new stuff. So it's quite a lot when you add it all up.
Yeah, I mean, I've grabbed obviously the new hull and the weapon, and then I've grabbed myself all the build tokens, and in fact now I'm just stacking. I'm not sure what to go for next. I have to say, I don't know.
But didn't Kixeye say that there's going to be like 150 shards available to each hull almost?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
But we've had
that's the maximum you can get during this raid. I think so. Yes.
So we've had 25 available on the first section, and we had 25 become available today for the Hellstar. So, how are they going to allow us to collect 150? They're going to have to, on the last couple of days, they're going to have to open it up to loads.
No, I don't think you're going to be able to grab 150 of each hull. I think if you go around picking 5 here, 5 there, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get 150 for every single one of them.
Well, they rotate it daily, don't they? Apparently, so it'd be interesting to see. I must admit, who's hanging it? I mean,
well, there's 4 mega hulls now, so that's 4 days took up. So it's only going to leave 2.
Yeah, Wim says he's got a stack there. I was just looking in the chat. Wim says he's got 230 million for all the shards. Yeah. What?
Sorry about the coughing there, guys. I tried to mute. Apologise.
Yeah.
And hi, Wim. Good to see you, Wim. Wim is from the Nexus, who gives this show a lot of support. So thank you very much, Wim. Appreciate that from the BP Nexus.
Yeah.
One other question, guys. What are you hitting? I mean, are you doing the ASAT 3 targets, or are you going for the elite 110 target?
No, I'm hitting the A's, mate. I tried the 110s and I just didn't go back again.
Because it's worth the same amount of points, and so I thought it was a bit stupid to be so hard, so much more expensive to do. Well, who's gonna hit that? Honestly, I can't see people doing that.
My Punisher which can run through a whole A set. I took it in a 110 and it died. It killed 1 block of turrets and died so I was like, well, you know what? I ain't doing that again.
Well, the thing that seems to do the most damage there is those mini halos. What are they called again?
Arc missiles?
Yeah, arc missiles.
Yeah.
If you've got enough combat speed to outrun the arc, then you should, if you had sort of really, really, really fast set of punts, I'd be interested to see the kind of damage.
Around the 40 range, yeah.
If you can outrun that, then I don't think the rest is that bad.
Do you not think your brain's tricking you, though? That your brain sort of thinks that the arc missile still goes back to what it's like in the base, and I can't help but see the arc missile and think, oh, it's going to do nothing, and all of a sudden it goes whack and it hits someone, and I'm like, oh my god.
Where's my fleet gone?
Yeah, exactly that. I've stayed well clear of them. I'm just doing the A sets, I have to say.
Did see a video of a fleet of Punishers where Antipodes on take a 101 in one run, but he almost lost his fleet.
Really?
Right.
So they are doable with one fleet, but the damage he took, it was like, yeah, whatever.
Not worth it. Yeah.
No.
And that was my thinking, right? I mean, why waste the time and resources designing a target to put on a raid and make it so out of whack compared to something that pays the same amount of points that nobody wants to touch it? I mean, to me, it's just a bad decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just daft. I mean, in the preview server for it, I went in there in a 110, and I thought if they're going to leave it like this when it comes live, then they're just not going to get touched. And what have they done? They've just left it exactly the same way, and they're just not being touched. Though.
Yeah. Has anyone hit the Manowar for Uranium? How hard is that one?
That is crazy, mate. I took my ghost in because it says that their weakness is a ghost, but they've got so many other ships in there with thermal on, it's unreal. And I lost like my ghost straight away, like.
So subs are not an option.
Yeah, subs are not an option. I ended up killing them, but I'm using my pun Rhino fleet, like. So
does it work well?
Yeah. Well, about an hour's fixed. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean it's not a bad method of getting uranium in the middle of the raid if you need it, I guess.
I mean, not for top players. For everyone else is going to have to wait until raid is over and armadas are back. Right?
Of course, yeah.
Leon, just quickly, a couple of bits in the chat there I've got there. There's a couple of guys asking about which talk to get. Me personally, between the obviously the two, one obviously the Charon, which is just a straight, you know, it hits, it does damage, that's it. The other one, obviously, it dissipates over time. Now, the only thing I noticed, and I switched the Charon, and then I put some scatters on as well. So at full range, then I either hit the target, and then immediately, then if I wanted to jump out on hitting the retreat button, I could do it straight away. With the other torp, though, you have to wait for it to do its business, you know, to the time lag, and then the retreat button then starts going and the timer starts counting down. So if you're basically trying to run away from something, you've not only going to wait for the time for the retreat light to come on, but you've also got to wait for the time for that torp to finish doing its damage as well. So that's why I chose the Charon over the other one myself. But
yeah, the Charon is better. I mean, especially like if you're going to put on Nighthawks, because you use that stealth attack special, and that gives you a boost in concussive damage, not corrosive,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, the other one's corrosive, isn't it?
And the concussive damage on the Charon is like out of the charts. So after retrofit and everything, is well over 1,000 per torpedo. Right?
And obviously, it fires faster, gets better reload, and that sort of stuff.
So when you apply 40% bonus on 1,000, I mean, it gets really good. Using stealth attack with sticks is a waste of time.
It's a trade-off, though, isn't it? Because sticks fire quicker. That's the only thing.
No, they reload the same time. They travel faster.
Oh, they travel. Yeah, sorry. But then you've got to wait for the dissipation afterwards, because obviously it hits it, and then it's got a dissipated amount of time before it's finished doing its damage. So, and I didn't like that.
I think it is the choice of the way you play. It's like Inspector Gadget, he's got sticks on his ghost, and I've got Sharon's on like my ghost. And I love my ghost, but he prefers sticks.
I think it's a matter of what you're going to put on. Like personally, I'm with Stuart there. I mean, if you're going to have a submarine that's all torps, I would stick Charons on them anytime, because then all the concussive bonuses will percentage, right? And a percentage of a higher value, it's a much bigger gain. Now, if you're going to go, if you're going to go on a Tiger Shark and you're going to put Cobra scatterguns and they are corrosive, and then you should put sticks because they do corrosive and both do overtime, and then you supercharge them with one of those two specials. And now you're gaining a lot on the corrosive side, but you shouldn't mix them both, because then neither special are going to optimize the whole thing.
Yeah, got you. I mean, I have to say, you know, personally, the reason I did mine, I've got four scatters on each of my Tigers, and the rest of it is all Charons, and that's simply because if I want to go in and clear out a base, then I'll use obviously the scatters and that sort of stuff. And I was initially actually hitting 85s and prepping 85s, and people were using those, taking the Wendigo turrets as well. But if I want to do it full range, I like using the Charon torp, because you just hit the target and you haven't got to wait for that dissipation like you do with the sticks.
Yeah, true.
And that's the only reason I do it. Otherwise, yeah, if I was to build them again, I'd probably go all of one or all of the other.
Yeah, doing Revenge Raid, the previous cycle, I mean, I was using my Banshees and with Charon Torps, and they were awesome doing tier A.
I remember that far back. I seem to forget them when I've done them. Anyway, moving on, sorry. Is Liam still there?
I don't know, I think Liam fell asleep.
Yeah, I think he's...
No, sorry, I'm still here, guys. I just keep coughing, so I had my microphone on mute there to try and stop interrupting you guys speaking. Yeah, so I do apologise. I don't know if you can tell, but I am still a little bit ill.
I just thought it was a good point to raise. That was all, mate, about the torps. That was all. Because if someone's chasing the 6 million points, thinking, right, which one do I get? For God's sake, don't get the wrong one. Both good, but for different purposes, I would get each one personally.
No, of course. And another, to the Forsaken Council community as well, I did want to say on another note that I apologise that I was ill, because I kind of feel that I didn't do the preview server justice on the Wednesday, and I cut it short, and the reason I did that is because I was pretty much passing out on air. But I'd got into the preview server to do some testing, and I really feel that I didn't test it properly. So I do apologise about that, because I was trying to test this whole before the raid, and I kind of let you guys down on that. So that was my bad. But same for the raid. I said I was going to do a stream for the first hour of the raid, and that never happened either. But I was sick. I was in bed. So you're gonna have to give me a break.
There's little change though, is there? To be honest.
Yeah.
First hour of the raid didn't happen either. It's okay.
Well, that's true.
From what I heard, I would have just been streaming like a blank screen, maybe. I don't know. Pokies. Attack of the Pokies.
Yeah.
So is everyone? I know we had a few issues to start off with the raid. Are you enjoying the raid?
It's just a chore now. My raid's done. I'm doing it now for my alliance. Basically, that's it. And so the top 6 players in my alliance, we're just now raiding for the rest of our alliance. So.
I think whenever it comes to a point like when you need just a new hull and a new weapon, and you need like 30 million or 20, that it's fun. But when you get to a point where you're doing like 50, 60 million or 100 million, and it's a whole store raid, that's when it starts to become a bit of a grind, when you have to hit these huge scores because you're just going over and over and over, and that's when it starts to become repetitive, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's good for us, because a lot of the stuff they're not must-haves. I mean, honestly.
Certainly
Especially for the top players. I mean, we probably have a lot of Gales, and I mean, if things are going to start changing, are the next targets going to have any mortars? Are we going to need Gales at all? I don't know, right? I'm getting revenge, getting the weapon, then getting all the tokens I can, and everything else is kind of optional.
It's interesting too for this part, because this is the first new PvP haul. Personally, I don't PvP. I could just go without this hull, and I would be just fine in doing so. So I could not care, but there's stuff I want here, so I'm doing it. I've been finding the raid interesting because I've changed targets. Last raid I was doing B set and then the 101s, and now I'm doing A set, so I have to figure those out, and it's a fun little challenge, but at the same time I was like, this isn't too much different, and it's getting kind of repetitive already.
Yeah, it gets repetitive, right? I mean, and that's why I think it's good that you don't need to get a lot of stuff. I mean, for the PvE only players that don't do much PvP, like Brian said, get the Punisher, and you're done, pretty much, right? Or get some Gales if you don't have the Gales, and then go for tokens, and your raid is done.
I was going to say, yeah.
If
and
you're a
PvP,
tokens. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, for the low-level players, if they can grind out those tokens, and will get even help, that will actually help them speed up things for the new upcoming changes.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, with 7 days to raid, honestly, if you have, let's say, some people already have the right blueprint, but they didn't have it finished, go get some Gales, get some stuff, go get tokens, and refit your tank and get your tank ready, and you still have like 5 days to go, right?
And on that, Ren, it might be a good chance for some of the mid-level especially to actually do some of the campaigns to get some stuff.
Yeah, true, but honestly, I just hope people are not wasting their time getting DNX or Nova Storm or any very outdated hull at this time. Like, I mean, go at least for a Rhino, I would say. At the very least, go for a Rhino. But if you can, over 7 days, score 13 million points, then go for the Punisher, by all means.
I took I got a level 40 player, and I made him. He jumped into made him start off like 2 A sets. I got him 4.5 million, and he collected the Rhino. He's only a level 40 and he's got a Rhino, man. That's awesome.
That's
isn't it?
cool. That's cool.
Yeah, he's gonna be ruling the seas with that.
Actually, that's good question there, Liam. When he got it and redeemed it, how many levels did he jump?
I think he jumped. I'm not sure. I think he went from like 41 to 42 or something.
Oh, if Liam was doing most of the damage and he was only getting the bonuses, he wasn't going to level up much.
Oh, when you claim the hull, because I've got a friend in our alliance who's a very low level, who's just got into the game, and he's already helped claim the Punisher, and he jumped from level 29 to 32 as soon as he clicked claim.
It gives you VXP. Yeah, it gives you VXP sometimes when you collect.
Yeah. As soon as you collect the hulls. Yeah, as soon as you collect hulls. That's why if you don't want to rank up, you don't want to collect too many stuff, because you will rank up.
Yeah, I must say as well, I mean, I actually find, this is another subject I wanted to discuss as well, so I'm a little bit disappointed, and this may surprise you, but I'm actually not that happy about this hull. And the reason I'm not let me explain, because the reason I'm not happy about it, right, it's a good PvP hull. It's powerful, it's nice, it's cool, it's a new little feature, but I'm annoyed that to build it, it's a 5-ship fleet, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah, you're probably right there, to be honest.
Yeah?
I'm not going to do 5 ships, then I'm not a massive PvP person anyway, so I'm going to drop some of these in my guard, just to be annoying, and if I am going to go and hit some, then unfortunately I'm going to hit probably 70s and 80s and not the people above 100 that have got everything, because I just hit on a Monday now, and then just crack on.
I'm kind of like Mark. I'm the same. I don't know I'm going to have a top-notch 5-ship fleet. I might go for 3 or 4 and leave 1 or 2 in my garden, and I'm not doing PvP, then bring them all together, hit some level 80s, something like that.
Well, see, the thing is, for this, for it to even, I don't want to slag it off too much, but right, it would cost me 4,000 coins to build this fleet. And to build it right, to be able to take players' bases in my level area.
If you don't want to wait any time and just coin the whole fleet, it costs a small fortune. You're right.
Yeah,
you can do a mix. I mean, you can get all the tokens from the raid, and then you can get more tokens from FM, and then you can probably get, a whole bunch of it done with tokens and coin just a bit of it. I don't know. If you wait a little bit.
Do you think they've been cautious though? I mean, it looked good in the preview server. I get that and that sort of stuff. But can you imagine if they brought the first PvP hull in and it was an absolute smash? And actually, when they brought next month's in, there's no point because this one's so good. So, we've slid now into the first PvP hull. I get that, and obviously with the Foundry, it's going to change things a bit later on. But if they had brought something out that was so dynamic, my God, then we'd been right back to where we were 18 months ago, when some of the newer hulls came out again, like the HC and that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
And then you'd have just scared all the low levels off and the non-corners. They're going, right, sack this, I've had enough. This is a joke.
But
But we know they're dynamic, right? I mean, they're dynamic. Like this hull comes out, and even if it's like an auto win button, almost in many bases, and a lot of players watched the preview and said my base doesn't stand a chance, and they're back to that point where they say, what's the point? Because I'm a level 60, I cannot defend against even one of those hulls. Forget it, right?
Well,
but they're gonna counter that. I mean, that's how they always do it. This hull is there. And then soon there's going to be a new turret, and soon there's going to be a new guard ship, and then they do another PvP hull, and the cycle keeps going, right?
Well, my point is, what I mean is, a 5-ship fleet is going to cost me 4,000 coins or 80 days, without calculating tokens. Now, for Kickside to draw this line between PvP and PvE, and then to say that this is the first PvP hull, which you can use again, and you can start hitting bases again, but it's going to cost you 80 days or 4,000 coins. I feel that that's an unreasonable figure to push upon a community. But what makes it worse is the hull isn't even that good. That's honestly my opinion on it. It's nice, but do you know what? It would cost me under 500 coins to correct my base to stop this. In fact, I could probably do it for free. With a few minor alterations, I've already figured out how to stop this hull.
Which I think is good, Liam. I mean, everybody was fed up with the whole of the month being able to click at the back of the base and just watch your fleet trash through a base. Everybody was fed up with that.
But how can it be good? Because now we're...
now you gotta go in, you gotta prep, you gotta use your launcher tigers and prep a little bit. You gotta use another fleet, maybe prep a little bit, and then you go in with that fleet and use your ghost crawler, whatever. If you're a top player, you gotta use all your top tools to prep a base, and then you go in with that hull. If you're going against an average player, then this new hull is still an auto-win fleet. The only thing I agree with you there is that 5 hulls being needed for a fleet, that's bad. I had more fun building 2-3 ship fleets like I used to do with Hellstrikes, right?
I just feel that it's not even remotely strong enough, in my opinion, and that's from my experience of, my experience in the previous server, but my experience now in the live game, what I've seen from players in my alliance using this fleet, what I've seen from attacks on bases and how bases react to this hull. You could have your ghost crawler and your subs and your rockets. This hull's still not powerful enough. It's still not powerful enough to break bases. I still don't have a PvP hull. I've not had a PvP hull for 4 weeks, and there's no way I'm going to spend 4,000 gold on one that's mediocre.
And by the way, I think I wasn't going to build it at all until Kixeye lowered the repair time, because the way it came at first, at 35 hours to repair a fleet, I was never, ever going to build that.
I put that exactly on our alliance page. I went, it's actually, guys, don't do it.
That's the first thing I said to Liam. Oh, look, they've given us a hull and they've given us Reaver fleet repair times.
Mm-hmm.
Marvellous.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and I'm in the same boat as Liam. I'm not going to touch this fleet at all.
Well, I may put one in my base, but even then, I mean, it's just not strong enough. I need something. They're going to need to boost it. They're going to need to either, if they've got a special plan for it, or if there's something coming that I don't know about, then okay, that's cool. But as it stands right now, there's no way I'm shelling out 4,000 coins on a fleet that I know, Joe Bloggs next to me can spend 50 coins and stop.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend 4,000 coins on a PvP hull and then just go and club baby seals with it, because it's this hull will be obsolete. This hull will be obsolete before the new Forsaken missions come out.
I don't think it's going to be obsolete for the simple reason that we don't have a better hull. So honestly, right now you want to do PvP, that's what you've got. It's either that, or you're going to go to resort and try to work with your older fleets, which were all kind of made much crappier with the turret rebellions.
But that's the thing, Ren. You've just hit the nail on the head. If I want to go and hit a base, I've either got to wait 80 days or spend 4,000 coins.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the biggest thing that knocks me, is that's what's being put in front of me. They just did their updates and stuff. Fair cop. It's going to improve the game, but the fact that they've just given the first base hitting hull out and the cost of it is unreal, mate.
And I bet they've done that, I think, relying on an assumption that a lot of their top coiners cannot go on without hitting bases and are going to coin the hull. I've already seen some coin fleets on the map today. We call them greedy eyes sometimes, and I think there's a reason for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are relying that a lot of people are going to straightforward just coin the whole fleet, and now in a few days they're going to have that special for ranking, and I bet they're relying that the same guys are going to give even more money to them to coin the ranks instead of waiting for VXP weekend a couple more weeks down the road. I don't know when that's going to be. Just guessing.
I guess I'm not being overly negative about it. I guess I kind of just dislike the situation. I dislike the situation I'm in, not having a PvP hull, being offered one with a hefty price tag that I think is quite easy for a player to counter. I mean, don't get me wrong. this hole smashed my base several times in the preview server. It's on that video. It did break me, only just though, but it did break me a few times, and that was great. But it would be very minor to put in a few changes to stop it, and for 4,000 coins, it's just, I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a tough one to contemplate. Okay, Ren, have you got to drop out?
Yeah, guys, take care, everyone.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
take care, man.
Cheers, buddy.
Sure.
Should we move on? Top of the hour now.
Yeah, is there any other subjects anyone wants to go into?
The Foundry?
The Foundry. Well, I know Ren's already.
Well, I was just thinking about some people's thoughts on it. I mean, we know what it is. I know Brian's read up on it, for example. What would he be looking for to go into it? And how do you think it's going to impact the fleets that he's got already?
Well, to be honest, I've never retroed hulls in the past because I've always gone with the specials and the stuff to go on like the ships. So I'm not going to be in no rush to go out and do it. And if I've got to collect more parts from another thing, then it'll just add to the list of things to do. Right.
Yeah, I was hoping the base parts would just come parts, and actually you can put them into either or. That'd be nice.
Which is what I hoped as well, though. But
I'm sort of running out of things to use base parts for, really, to be honest.
But by the sound of things, it's just going to have to be something else that I've got to go out and collect, like.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I don't know. The game has in my opinion, I feel the game is in the best place it's been in a long time. I guess we've had a really, really crazy couple of months, especially since OP8, base parts, turret rebalance, introduction of this, introduction of that. It's almost the content's flown at us so frequently and so quickly, in particularly these last couple of months, that it's been very hard to keep up. Like, if you decided to take a couple of months out of the game and you come back now, you'd be like, whoa, what the hell's going on?
That's interesting. I've got exactly the same that. I've got a guy of mine who had to step out for 6 months, and he's just come back in now, and he's like that. What has just happened to this game? Literally, he's like that. What's going on here? I don't understand any of this. You've got so many new things in 6 months. I mean, thinking about what was the whole 6 months ago, it was probably the Rhino, wasn't it? At a guess, or were DCs coming by then? I can't quite think now, to be honest.
Neptune, I think. October.
Neptune. Wow, that's huge, isn't it?
I think October was the first Scourge raid. October or September.
6 months in this, a typical IT 6 months, it just races ahead so fast, doesn't it? It's not like real-time 6 months. It's just heck advances crazy.
Yeah, I mean, with the last week and this whole, I don't know. I don't want people to think I'm whining about the whole and saying it's rubbish, but I just feel it's underpowered. And with the Foundry coming, I don't know. Maybe the Foundry is going to be the way that it will change. Perhaps they've released this whole in hindsight of the Foundry.
Potentially, yeah. But ultimately, if the Foundry is done the same way as base parts is done with building your base, then I mean, for most of our guys, I'll go around and you've seen how I prep you for the guys using my Rhinos and a HC fleet. So I top them up easily with the uranium, that sort of stuff. We now go around and prep base parts for people and just leave one torp tower in there. So, it's just another thing for people to do. You haven't got to do it, but it's just something to do, isn't it? So, it's up to them, isn't it?
I just think with the new hull, like 80 days to build it. I mean, we're gonna have how many more raids until I build a slow build a fleet of them. So what's going to be out next raid? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's interesting?
The main reason sorry, you go, bro.
What's interesting too is this weapon is concussive. As far as I know, there's no way to inherently put concussive defense into a base. We're just relying on our base turret armors, and even now, it's apparently not that good. And so the normal counter might be to put something in that would give concussive resist. But if that wasn't the case and they were to do that anyways, that would be pretty bad for this new hull, I would imagine. Like, even in its best case scenario, it's still...
What I was going to say on that was, and I'm pretty sure I've heard Liam say a similar thing, is one of the reasons I want to get the hull for is because I don't want to regret it possibly down the track if I didn't get it. I've heard so many people like that, you know, like we think the hull's not good or the weapon's not good and they don't worry about it, and then later on, oh damn it, I didn't get that.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said a minute ago, this hull this is one of the hulls that's been designed after the Foundry. You know, they've obviously designed the Foundry. Kixeye obviously know what's going to be going on with it. Then they've designed this hull after it. So perhaps there is something in mind with it. And again, you know, I've been wrong before. Maybe I'm wrong about this hull. Maybe the hull is amazing. Maybe I'm not seeing its true potential. But from what I've seen, and from the bases around me and the kind of players in my group, we don't like this hull that much. We kind of feel that it's for the first PvP hull. It's not sufficient.
Well, I mean, let's flip back 3 months. There's a certain percentage, a couple of very high-level players that are well known that went, I'm not getting that Punisher, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
That's my point. That's my point totally.
I can think of one in particular. I can think of one in particular, but I think that was different. I don't know.
It didn't seem at the time. It didn't seem like that because I ummed and ahed. I went, do you know what? I can do this raid easy. I'm just going to go I'll get the darn thing. And I didn't build it for about 4 weeks. I left it, and then I started creeping into the game. And I was going, hang on a minute. This is actually going to be, because dubs start appearing and various things. I'm going, this is actually a very good hull.
Yeah, so, but like the thing is though, if you were to build this and it took you 80 days to build a fleet of it, there's going to be 2 more raids, and I guarantee you there'll be some sort of base guard or something to come out to counter this hull. So unless you're prepared to coin it, you're not going to see that much use.
Yeah, I agree. No, I got you. I mean, I've done one, that sort of stuff, and that's just using tokens and then 46 coins. And a couple of guys in my alliance have gone, I'll send you a few coins. Can you prep for me? Of course I will. I would have done it anyway. But the point is, so I've got a hull, and it didn't cost me a darn thing. And actually I used my Punishers first, smashed out a few A-sets, 3 or 4 Keens and a couple of Grease Monkeys that I was using, and then I've run out of Grease Monkeys because I didn't manage to roll many this month and that sort of stuff, and now I've got the hull, and actually I'm prepping, and I'm just going prep, click, 2 minutes 30, on to the next one, 2 minutes 30, on to the next one sort of stuff. So actually, it's working, and there's 3 or 4 of us in our alliance that do it now, and we're getting everybody the Punisher because PvE is what they need to advance. They don't need PvP. They just don't need it. They need PvE.
PvP it gives you no really reward other than your own bit of fun.
Feeling smug. Yeah. Yeah.
Those medals, or as I like to call them, virtual penis enlargers.
Yeah. Just one thing, Liam, I wouldn't mind if you want. I'm just reading the chat here. Poseidon was one here. Question: 5 to 6 million points is what most of my level are aiming for. What should I get? Thoughts?
5 to 6 million points.
Or do you want to go through the prize list, the tiers, and just quickly pick out the key ones you think maybe from each one sort of stuff?
Well, if you ain't got Rhinos, then Rhinos is one of them.
Rhinos is definitely the must at 3 million.
And Siege Battery Free.
Siege Battery Free is a must. Well, how much is Siege Battery Free in this event? Sorry, I haven't even got the prize list in front of me.
So I'll get them up here. So tier 1 for 150k. That gets you a Triton. So if you want to go out doing ranking, whether you're using Rhinos or whatever, a Triton's always a good thing to have. And they've come down in build time, haven't they? But also D3E is in there as well, which is quite helpful. Mm-hmm. So that's on the tier 1 thing. That's quite good. I'm just looking. Then you've got the speed upgrade on tier 2 and the splash upgrade. Good thing to get, isn't it? And the UAV power cells there as well. So that's reasonable. I think I'd miss out on the Mastodon and not get that at 2.5 million because in tier 3, then that then brings in the Charon Torp for 5 million, but it also brings in the Rhino for 3 million and Siege Battery 3 as well. So
here's a question for that, Mark. With the Foundry, I haven't looked totally in it, so you guys might be able to answer this better. But what sort of holes are they going to get in the Foundry?
Well, there's already a picture up on the forum.
It shows 4 holes, doesn't it? But I think they're just, I don't know if they're example holes or whether that's going to be the first 4 holes, because obviously it's interesting the holes they've used for the picture, but one of them is like really one of the latest holes. So I'm quite surprised it's there, sort of stuff.
They're making it like a way for people that are new to the game or lower levels to catch up. I think that's its main primary,
But my point is, if some of these middle range holes are going to be in the foundries, they might not need to worry about getting them in the raid, because they just need to get something that will be able to do the stuff in the foundry to get that hole. That's my point.
Fair point.
I personally feel that that sometimes specials, certain key specials and weapons are far more important than the holes themselves. Depending, but the Judgment Mortar, I believe, is a key weapon in the game at the moment, and especially with so many gals and countermeasures about now. If your mortars are your flavor, but siege battery's a must. I know we did do a prize list on Tuesday's show as well. We did a rundown of best picks, but
Wim's saying that Centurions are going to be in the foundry, which is why they're not in the raid. So that's interesting.
Yeah, see, one of the things they're going to do is they're going to try and make the tech available you need to do the in-game content. That's what the foundries are going to be about. So if for example this current raid format becomes the new weekly missions targets, then they're going to maybe make Citadels available, because Citadels are the best hole to do it. So and I don't know if they'll be pre-built or dry holes or what. I don't know, but they're going to kind of use the foundry to make. So if a new player or someone who's catching up or took some time away from the game and has come back in and is wanting to go out there and hit the weeklies, but they can't because they don't have the tech, they can go out and hit a load of salvages, collect a load of parts for the foundry, jump into the foundry, and hop out in their new boats. I think it's going to be that kind of system,
Yeah, looking at the picture that you guys are talking about, there's this is specifically ballistic and siege based, are these 4 holes. So there's the Dreadnought that should basically be tier 1. There's the Vindicator, it's like tier 2 or 3. Crusaders, tier N+1, and Centurion is something we got recently. And this is only in things that are both siege and ballistic. So I imagine that it's going to be a very wide spread of holes across different tech levels and different usabilities. I'm not sure if you can actually physically get a Centurion blueprint just by grinding world map targets all day, but it looks very promising. I think this is the catch-up mechanic that a lot of players need.
And that's my point, is if you're going to get these points in the foundry from even like cargoes, then wouldn't it be a good idea for some of the low to middle level players to possibly look at getting some subs or something that can do the C targets and do multiple targets at one time, so they can just go out there and just crash it?
But the Rhino will do that, won't it? And I think Rhino is probably the best thing out of this thing for a low level. If you're going to get anything at all, I would get a Rhino, because ultimately on a C set, 2 Rhinos, split your pack of 4 into 2 2s, and you can still go and smash 2 C sets at the same time in auto. Speed thing up.
For 6 million, I think that the Rhino and Siege Battery 3, because they're going towards siege targets almost exclusively now, and Siege Battery 3 is an absolute must, and Rhino is a great hull that can do a lot. Does my raids, does my FMs. Bam.
Well, listen, guys, if you don't mind, I think unless there's any topics or anything else you wanted to throw in before we do, I was going to look to maybe end the shows fairly soon, because I'm feeling a bit out of it, actually, and I kind of feel like I can't even concentrate anymore. So
yeah, I got you playing. The last thing I'd say then, if you're going to get anything over, a dozen, like 12 million, 13 million, get yourself a Punisher. You won't regret it.
That's good advice. The Punisher is the must-have.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, listen. Thanks everyone for coming out. I apologize. I don't know. I almost feel like I can't even remember the show. But if the show was a bit all over the place, blame me. I will hopefully be nice, fit, and well by Tuesday. And thanks all for coming out. And we'll catch you again on Tuesday. Have a good raid, everyone. And for any advice, just hit us up in the page.
All right. Have a good week, all.
Thanks everyone for coming out. Thank you.
Good luck. Have fun.